All right, everyone. I wanted to start off today talking politics, the myth of Donald Trump being a disruptor, namely. Because I've seen a lot of articles like the chaos candidate, the disruptor in chief, stuff like that, linked in the description, archived, of course. I have a different surmising with regards to the political situation currently. Donald Trump is not a disruptor, he's a return to the normal. It's the old normal of those, bygone days when things actually worked. We've been through disruption under Joe Biden. We've been through disruption under Bush-Obama. That's the disruption. The sort of post-Carter consensus broke down, and Ronald Reagan undoes that. So the liberal consensus, that goes the way of the dinosaur. Reaganism comes in. And what you have is a deviation from that, and it really starts with Herbert Walker more than anything else. Reagan's first term was pretty good, freezing the government. By the way, Trump is optioning that concept, freezing the growth of government agencies to let GDP catch up. I think that this is a good idea. You should do it for all 4 fucking years instead of for just a year or two like Reagan did. Second term was all right. Then Herbert Walker comes along. He ends up being elected simply because Reagan did a good job. And then he puked on the Japanese prime minister, and the rest was history. The Clinton era is ushered in, and then that was the political paradigm until 2016. They tried to return to it in 2020, and we see how that panned out. And then Trump comes back because people have decided to reject the political paradigm because it's a dinosaur now and it no longer works. But that era was incredibly disruptive within the world. You have nation building and world policing and excessive taxation and high regulations, all of these things. Trump is a return to normalcy in the sense that he's a soft reset back to the era before the neoliberal one began. So effectively, first term Reagan. By the way, I am exceptionally excited to see his second term, because it looks like between his hiring decisions and the things that he's prioritizing and the way he's prioritizing them, it looks like he's going to do better than in his first term. I mean, you can't argue that the hires that he's making now are not vastly superior to the ones from his first term, for example, which he then repeatedly had to fire over and over again because they were being insubordinate and doing crazy shit. Like John Bolton, or even General, what's his name? I can't even remember. Mad Dog Mattis, if I remember correctly. Donald Trump is not the disruptor. He's the restorer of order, which is hysterical because if you listen to the legacy media or the neocon, neolib, uniparty hacks, you'd think that Donald Trump was basically a deranged version of Hitler. Like if Hitler got demented or something like that and just went completely off of his rocker. He sort of did towards the end anyway, but you know what I mean. And was governing for an excessive period of time, and society would fall apart or something like that. That's not Donald Trump, though. He's a restoration of the original Reaganite order, which replaced the originally neoliberal and globalistic order simply because it became unpopular. Ronald Reagan was a mild reformer. He still had globalism in mind. I think Trump less so, which is, again, another breath of fresh air. But he did reform things to a general extent. You've also got an interesting world political situation. Argentina just came out of recession and has restored capitalism. Afuera, it appears to be working. You've got Brexit and all of these other things going on. You've got Meloni over there in Italy, and her melons are apparently still single, so, eligible Italian bachelors, sign up and line up, and things like that. Trump is in a unique place and time where his particular skill set and his particular decision making, I think, will work. 10 regulations cut for every new one on the books, good. Extend the tax cuts and expand them, good. Expand the child tax credit, good. Actually give a damn about the border, good. Not start wars, be generally hesitant to start or engage in conflict, good. I can't see anything wrong with this. There are a couple of his hires that I don't necessarily agree with, like Hegseth has some issues right now, and we're not sure what's going to happen with that. But generally speaking, as a rule, superior to his first term, which was already pretty good. I think that Donald Trump is going to restore order and decency within the United States. Now, the left necessarily will try to sabotage the system and raise hell as much as they can to make that look like a bad idea. We've seen this in Argentina. Milei is basically a template for what's going to happen in the U.S. Leftoids will riot. They will engage in crime and in petty sabotage and things like that in order to try to cripple a system that they don't like the reform in because they want to sit on their asses and drain welfare and shit like that. This is inevitable. It's inevitable that they're going to call Trump a fascist. This is why it slides like water off his back. He's like, you already called me retarded Hitler, so, I mean, you can't get much worse than that. Only one time he was called Hitler, Mussolini, and Stalin all rolled up into one. My God. Yes, but he has not disrupted anything other than a sick uniparty that no longer itself perfectly functions. The uniparty disrupted things by engaging in wanton globalism, stupid economics, warmongering and nation building and all of these other things. That's the disruption. There was once a time in which the United States tended not to engage in these sorts of things. It was for most of our political history. Minus slavery, the antebellum period is pretty much what we should be striving for, actually. Expansion, you do have a cosmopolitan culture, but you expect assimilation. You have a border, but you understand that if the best and brightest are trying to come into your country, that's perfectly fine, etc., etc. A period of massive outgrowth, a period of expanse. Right now, what we've got is a period of stagnation more than anything else in the United States. The United States is only expanding in the sense of building more military bases and stupid shit like that we then have to pay for with our tax money. If we could just freeze that for a few years, it would be an economic miracle and a huge accomplishment. Trump seems to have that in mind. That's one of the things that he's optioning. Good on him. I think that he'll do a great job. I have high hopes and high expectations for the second Trump term. I don't think that I'll be let down, thankfully. I don't think that I'm getting my hopes too high. That's about all. Peace out.